It's time for another Quilters challenge. This month, the challenge is being issued by Deb from Sew with DeBee. So let's hear what the challenge is.
Hello everyone, it's Deb with Sew with DeBee. I've been asked to be part of a Quilters challenge, so I'd like you to play along too. What is my challenge? My challenge is to do wonky circles. So I want you to put on your thinking cap, pull out your scrap bucket, and see what you can come up with. I also want you to watch and see what others can come up with and what I showed to you. So please follow along with the Quilters challenge. This is going to be a very exciting thing to be doing. So until next time, sew safely and sew with DeBee. Bye for now.
One of the images that's always been kind of stuck in my head is, you know, that tree that goes up and it's actually just a bunch of circles. I know it's not like a revolutionary idea, but I've always loved that image. So recently I just painted my kitchen cabinets green and I thought, what if I just made this tree green? I know it sounds boring, but I think I could make this look pretty cool. Plus I need something to cover up the electrical panel in my kitchen. It's an old house, you know? So I dug into my scrap bin thinking I was probably not gonna find enough green to do this project, and was quite surprised to find probably way too much green. My scrap bin is bleeding in the corner. But I did decide to cheat a little bit. I have this Go Baby, and I also have this circle template from AccuQuilt. Unfortunately, this video is not being sponsored by AccuQuilt, but it is gonna be making cutting circles out a lot faster. For the background, I am going to use this piece of white fabric. Now, I know that is still kind of boring, but I think it's really gonna set off the greens and it's gonna look really good in my kitchen. So that's why I chose it. And then the trunk is going to be black. Again, a little boring, but I really like that nice, clean, crisp look. So that's the direction I'm going. I am going to be making this quilt about 25 by however big this is. So let's go cut some fabric. The first thing I have to do is make the trunk of the tree. So I'm gonna cut that out of this black fabric. Now you'll notice that I don't have any fusible on the back of my fabric, and that's because I don't have a quilt shop in town. I don't have any. So I'm gonna be doing most of my work today with a handy dandy glue stick, which it's now becoming one of my favorite things. I've cut out this piece of freezer paper that is approximately the same size as this, so I can draw out this sort of tree idea. I don't need that here. And that's just gonna be like kind of the trunk and a couple of the branches. So after messing around with this for a fair little while, this is the tree that I've come up with. So I'm just gonna cut this out, iron it down to my black fabric, and then just cut out this trunk and get it onto the background. Now that I have the trunk of my tree attached to the background, I'm going to use my Go Baby to cut out some circles. I am being careful not to overload the die, and I'm just roughly cutting the scraps to the right size. This was really fun and very satisfying to get those perfect circles. And I know this is a wonky circle challenge, but don't worry, I'm not done yet. So now I'm gonna start placing my circles. But when I peeled back the freezer paper, I was disappointed to see that some of the glue had bled through the black fabric. I wasn't too surprised because it was just some black broadcloth, so I decided to press on. I started by placing the largest circles first and then just began the layering process, gluing everything down as I went. I also had to cut way more circles than I thought I would need. Ta-da! Here it is, all put together. Obviously, I ended up cutting way more circles than I actually expected, just to fill it in a little bit more. Originally, when I was thinking about it, I was going to not have the circles overlap, but I think it looks a lot better like this. I've decided to take this to the long arm, and I'm actually gonna stitch around all of these circles on the long arm. And I think it's going to cause a lot of these circles to fray a little bit and stuff, but I think I'm okay with that. It is a tree. Okay, so I've got my tree all mounted up here, and because this is my own project, obviously my backing is just barely big enough. So let's go down to the machine and let's go stitch. Now it's time for me to wonkify these circles. I chose a green thread that blends in with most of the green circles, and I'm stitching around each circle 3 or 4 times. This went a little slow at first, and I would definitely recommend using a fusible if you have it, just to hold those circles a bit better. Don't worry, no fingers were harmed in the making of this project. Because I'm going around each circle more than once, it makes it easy to travel around to the next one. That isn't to say everything went smoothly, but once I wrapped my mind around where my fingers needed to be, it went fairly quickly. background, I kept to the circle theme and did some Pebble Pop filler. But when I filled in the areas between the green circles on the inside there, I did some matchstick quilting. And that's just the last of the details. If you want some more information about these designs, there are a ton of videos on my YouTube channel, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail here. Okay, so here it is, all done and quilted. So as you saw, I did put a ton of quilting into this, but not so much into the actual circles themselves. I kind of like how they're a little bit puffy. My kitchen's green, so this is gonna look really good hanging in my kitchen. And I've even added a pocket to the back with this dowel in here, so it can hang nice and reasonably straight. So this is the first quilted item that I actually have hanging in my house, which is really fun. I mean, I don't really make that many little quilted items. Or at least I never used to. This challenge has been really good for me. Anyhow, make sure to check out the description below for all the other YouTubers that are participating in this challenge. And let me know, what would you make with wonky circles? Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now. Okay, so this is my kitchen, and this is where the tree hangs. And behind it is the electrical panel. Yahoo!